In a reflection, you explain and justify the creative choices you made in another piece of writing you composed. In other words, you need to identify the purpose and audience of the piece you wrote. That way, you can explain the intended effect of the language choices you made. In your reflection, you will usually need to comment on how at least one of your Mod C prescribed texts inspired or influenced you. You may have borrowed aspects of a writer's style or explored their ideas further. Don't worry, you won't be required to closely analyse any of your Mod C texts in a reflection. I can see Ponderosa glowing in the distance. Won't be long before touchdown. Let's chat about Ness's definition of reflection. Allow me to bring it up on the dash screen. Nessa defines a reflection as the thought process by which students develop an understanding and appreciation of their own learning. This process draws on both cognitive and affective experience. Okay, so a reflection is when we contemplate our own learning in English. Pondaguru did explain to us that reflection helps us gain greater control over our own learning. But this doesn't really help us with how to write a reflective text. Hopefully, Pondaguru will give us more guidance. Prepare for landing. Ponderosa, planet of the eternal sunset. It's nice to be back. Thank you, Pondaguru, for hosting us again.
You're welcome, young students of the craft. I suppose you've returned to perfect the art of reflection. I will help you if you can remember the title of my favourite poem.
The Lady of Shalott by Alfred Lord Tennyson? You love the aesthetics of Tennyson's language.
Well done. Join me in the big tent, and I'll tell you what you need to know. I shall use the ancient form of communication known as the chalkboard. Care for some date milk and spiced rice? We take hospitality very seriously on Ponderosa. Please direct your eyes to the chalkboard. I will begin by discussing the kind of language you would include in a written reflection. First-person language, which is when someone refers to themselves with I, me, or my. This is helpful if you are reflecting on your own work and showing self-awareness of your own learning process. Evaluative language, which is wording that shows your judgment of your own work. This often comes down to using suitable adjectives or words that describe nouns, such as amusing and honest. Adverbs, or words that describe an adjective or verb, such as effectively, solemnly, and deliberately. Adverbs are usually placed right before or after the verb in the sentence, and verbs, or doing words, such as highlights and illustrates. Well-chosen examples from the text you wrote and are now reflecting on. It's important to pinpoint examples and quote from your work rather than just discussing it in general. Explanation or justification for the use of specific language techniques you used, and some commentary that connects what you learned about the craft of writing to what you actually wrote. In other words, explicit discussion of how you applied the craft of writing using language from the Mod C rubric. If you like, we can pause here while you take some notes. Here's something else that will help you. I recommend that you check the marker's official feedback on past HSC exams. In 2019, students were required to write a reflection as part of their Module C response. Even though reflection is mentioned in the Advanced Module C rubric, you may not always be asked to write a reflection in the final HSC exam. But It's likely you'll need to write one for a school assessment. Here's the 2019 HSC reflection question. For 10 marks, students had to compare how you have used language in Part A to evoke emotion with the way writing has been crafted in at least one prescribed text from Module C.